Today we're at Bottle Barn in Santa Rosa, California.
Yeah, we're outside Bottle Barn in Santa Rosa. I've heard a lot of good things about this store. They do some shipping. A lot of people from Northern California have recommended it. And so we're just gonna go inside. It seems like it's a giant warehouse. We're in an industrial park and hopefully find some good whiskeys. All right, we're starting in the bourbon aisle right here. And off to the side, there's actually a few cases of the Sonoma Distilling Company, California bourbon. We've never heard of it before, actually. 92 proof, made with California grains. I think that means they distill it themselves, yeah. Distilled and bottled by Corning and Company in Roanoke Park. So very local, aged 3 years, corn, wheat, rye, multiple barley, so 4 grain. So that's kind of cool. The rye and the bourbon are $30 each, which again, 94, 93 proof. That's not too bad. The rye is aged 4 years, so that's kind of cool. The rye, maybe that's worth picking up for $30. Try something local. And then obviously the normal bourbon shelf, we got all the High West. Yeah, you got the Rendezvous Rye for only $65. Going down, we have the standard Westwards that we love. Some Frey Ranch, including the uncut, for $78. Down a little bit more, we have this Field and Sound we've seen a few times before. Mackenzie, Wyoming. All the Smoke Wagons got uncut, unfiltered for $71. Batch 211A. Tin Cup, the 14er for $62, and Tin Cup 10-year bourbon for $50. We've heard really good things about both of these. They're low proof, but if you want something that's, low proof but high age statement, it doesn't get a better deal than that. Stranahan's, Laws. Down below, we have both the Ben Holiday soft red wheat and the Bottled and Bond. Those were hard to find for a little while, but now they're sitting on the shelf, $53. It's probably the cheapest we've actually seen it.
Yeah.
And down, Bowman Brothers with a small batch and the port barrel. We really like recommending this port barrel as a cheap finish option at $37. Again, these prices are incredible, honestly.
Yeah.
Some Smooth Ambler, Old Scout, Contradiction right there.
This one looks cool, this Virginia one.
Below that, we have some Dad's Hat bottles. Don't see those very often, including the finished in vermouth barrels, which never actually had a vermouth cask before, but that could be pretty fun.
Yeah.
A few other ones down there. We've got Breckenridge, Old Elk right there. The Leopold Brothers 8-year-old bourbon finished in their rye whiskey barrels. That's kind of interesting. And $65 for something distilled by them. That's a pretty good deal. Yeah, distilled by Leopold Brothers in Denver, Colorado. So haven't actually heard anyone review that one. But again, we like trying some craft distilleries. This also is a Maryland style rye. So it's distilled in Colorado, but it's Maryland style, so probably like the Sagamore where they use like a high and low rye mash bill, something like that. So that's really cool. We got the Pinhook lineup, always like pointing out these, and then Subtle Spirits, which I believe is a California NDP. They pick some barrels, do some blending, a lot of MGP stuff. They're known for their picks. This is just their standard bourbon, I believe. Their stellar bourbon for $80. We got some Heaven's Door right there, Horse Soldier going down. We have the Fortuna, which I've heard is actually getting discontinued by Rare Character. They're now just they call it the Rare Character Rare and Limited series of bourbon and rye, stuff like that, but that one's $80. Top, we got some more Uncle Nearest, the Angel's Envy, including the new Triple Oak release. And then down here, we have basically the full Green River lineup.
Yeah.
Full proof, the wheated, the rye, and the normal bourbon. $30 for all those fantastic prices.
No kidding.
$50. Peerless for $67. We're not huge fans of the normal Peerless products, but that's pretty cheap for their standard offering. Up top, we have some Joseph Magnus whiskeys right here, the standard, and then their Murray Hill Club. This is actually usually like behind a glass case, that type of thing. Not as coveted as a cigar blend, but $190 for those. Widow Jane, we have the new Baby Jane. Heard a lot of people really talking about that one. We just haven't tried anything from them yet. Got all the rabbit holes right there, along with the Bardstown Bourbon Companies, all their standard bottles. Been seeing some single barrel picks of these Origin series lately. That's really exciting. We got some Hirsch bottles, Castle and Key. We have the Nashville Barrel Company. This is their standard cask strength, like small batch release, 6-year-old, 120.58 proof, all distilled in Kentucky, and then they are bottled in Nashville, Tennessee. And then next to it, we actually have Bottle Barn's Pick. This is a 7-year barrel 8826, 121.72 proof, also distilled in Kentucky. Nashville Barrel Company fans, they'll probably know this barrel number probably means something about where it's sourced. They get some MGP, some Heaven Hill, all kinds of stuff. They have very complicated process for what bottle is what, but that's $80 right there. On this shelf, we have the whole Basil Hayden lineup for $40 to $70, depending on what you get. I also saw this Hidden Barn, Taryn pointed out. It's kind of a very cool label, but this is the one where Nancy Fraley left Old Forester, and now she's helping them here doing all the blending. 110.1 proof, batch 23B. I haven't heard the most amazing reviews of it, but they've put out a lot of batches recently. Maybe this is a good one, not quite sure. Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof Rye. We love this bottle. This is 137.9 proof for only $60. So you can find some near hazmat ones just sit on the shelf. They also have another, just the Tennessee whiskey, but this is actually a single barrel pick by them for $60, 130.3 proof. I think they actually have a few different barrel picks of those. So we've always wanted to try a barrel pick of Jack Daniel's because we just love it so much. Down below, Old Forester Whiskey Row lineup, some Old Grandad below. Actually, to the left, we also have the 1792 full proof. This is a pick by Sazerac, so I'm guessing that's like just a distributor pick that got left over, but those full proof picks are a lot better than the standard offering. In the Wild Turkey section, we have everything from the 10-year Russell single barrel, the Ryes, rare breed, everyone loves those. We can check the laser code. I think those LLMEs are gone by now. It is, yeah, something completely different. So those are all gone, but everyone says that's still a good bottle for $43. Got the Four Roses lineup, Standard Woodford, Jack Daniel's Bondeds. Down below, we got some Knob Creek, Makers, 46. They got their own barrel pick of the private selection. And we have an Old Forester barrel strength bourbon for only $70. Those used to be really, really hard to find, but $70, that's the cheapest we've ever seen it. We've got all the Jeffersons right here, the new bourbon, the small batch. I believe this is actually the new label style. And then they have the Ocean that everyone loves. Next to the Ocean Rye, double barrel rye whiskeys. So they're very pricey, but kind of interesting to see for $83. Got Elijah Craig, Larceny. Pikesville is actually a little bit hard to find at $44. That's as cheap as you're gonna find it. Below, we have Olive Bullet, including this one, the new Bottled and Bond by them. So they're finally making their own whiskey. $42. It literally just hit the shelves, starting to see reviews come out about it. I think people like it. $42, that's a really good price for them to come out with it. Up top, we have, of course, barrel, including the Seagrass and the foundation. I've seen the double barrel foundation starting to hit a lot of shelves too, which is really interesting. Still that like $50, $55 mark. And then below, we have Old Pepper, both the Bottled and Bond, single barrel rye, and the small batch single malt. We've liked their single barrel rye before. It's usually just standard MGP at like 110 proof, but really good price, $53. We have the Templeton, both the normal rye, the 6-year rye, and the 10-year single barrel right here for $85. It's got like a little fancier cork, a little tag, everything like that. That's actually really cool. I believe this is just MGP, but I mean, 10-year MGP, that's not bad for $85. We have some Willet products right here, the normal rye, Noah's Mill, Rowan's Creek, Pure Kentucky, all those ones right there, including Johnny Drum. We don't see that one very often, actually. And we got some Dickles right there, including the Bottled and Bond 13-year. Some Michter's hiding below, including right here, the standard lineup. And then we have just the standard Sazerac bottles, Sazerac Rye, Buffalo Trace for $23. I know that's crazy to people out of state, but it's just sitting right there. And Traveler for $35. Now onto this shelf. Seems to be the California whiskey area. So we've got all the Redwood Empires up top. We have Foggy Burrow and Devil's Tower, both batch 2 right there for $90 and $80. That's MSRP. Of course, the standard lineup and some Rocket Top Rye. Then below, we have Griffin and Grain, which we've heard a lot of good things in the comments about. They're all single barrels apparently, all California rye and bourbon. I believe from Merced for $55. Never seen this one.
So interesting.
Isla Khalifa, aged 5 years, Cherrywood single malt. So $55. We don't get into single malt too much.
Yeah, maybe not for us.
Very interesting bottle. The label barely fits onto it. That's a interesting decision by them. Alley 6, Craft Distillery, both the rye and the single malt. Not sure if this is, distilled and bottled in Healdsburg. So a lot of California distilled whiskey right here, which you don't see very often. Also have this Wright and Brown, again, Bottled and Bond. This is $90. Got kind of a cool label. And bottled in 2023. It says Oakland. And yeah, distilled and bottled in Oakland. So it's at least 4 years old right there, Bottled and Bond. It's got straight rye and straight bourbon. A lot of really interesting stuff right here. Up top we have Savage and Cook, which just got bought by Redwood Empire. Both theirs for $44. And then some more of those Sonoma Distilling Company right here. So they have a California wheat, a California smoked bourbon, and the straight rye made with cherrywood smoked malted barley. All really good prices here, especially for craft distilled. Got Spirit Works, which I think we've heard of before. This is in Sevastopol. I'm not sure how to say it. They've got straight wheat whiskey, 4-grain bourbon, and the rye. And then Sonoma Brothers, not Sonoma Distilling, a different company apparently, both their bourbon and rye for $40, and then Lost Republic for $34 and $40. That's a pretty popular brand around here. We also have these Moylan's whiskey. They've got American whiskey, sherry barrel finish, a blended American rye whiskey finish in port barrels. That's kind of cool. Finished, blended, and bottled. So it's probably MGP, but this is done in Petaluma. $44 for some finished rye whiskey. Not too bad. Also have the cask strength bourbon and a cask strength single malt right there. Ammunition, we've seen these a few times. Their thing is they finish everything. So they've got bourbon finished in Cabernet Sauvignon, rye finished in Pinot Noir, and cask strength bourbon finished in Cabernet Sauvignon, that's kind of cool. They do a cask strength version. And it is actually distilled and aged by them, but this is in Bardstown, Kentucky. So I guess it's a California brand, but they do everything in Bardstown. And then right here we have this Barber Lee. Taryn really pointed this one out because the label is actually a patch of leather, which is really cool. So they've got a single malt rye whiskey. I don't really know what that means. It's all malted rye, I guess. Yeah, single malt rye whiskey. So I guess it's kind of like the New Riff 100% malted rye. Pretty interesting, 90 proof. They have an heirloom corn straight bourbon. They are in Petaluma, $60 for those. Unsinkable bourbon finished in Cabernet and rye finished in port wine. That's kind of cool. $50 for this one.
I like the labels on those too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Distilled in Kentucky, finished and bottled in Roanoke Park.
Cool.
10th Street, some more single malt. Old Potrero, we've seen those down by us quite a bit. 6-year straight rye whiskey for $60. Cyrus Noble, Amador, some of these home bases, we've actually seen one of their bottles before, but they've got California straight corn, bourbon, a different bourbon, but cask strength, and then the single malt. And non-California whiskey, we've got the whole benchmark lineup right there. Some Penelopes, including the Architect, a 2XO, that's their more shelfer one for $48. And then a couple new riffs. All right, now we're over into their single barrel section. They've got a Angel's Envy pick for only $64. That's usually like $100. That's a really good deal. Ezra Brooks Craft Strength for $40, 20 to 50% off. Yeah, a lot of these single barrels are on sale right here.
Woohoo!
Maker's Mark Private Select, $56. Wilderness Trail Rye and a Wilderness Trail Bourbon. Not sure about how much those are, but probably pretty cheap also. More of those Jack Daniel's single barrel proofs that we were talking about last time. This is the 130.3 proof, and then a couple more of those Old Forester single barrels for $70. We also have the Pinhook 9-year for $90. This is like their special vertical series, but they actually let them do single barrel picks. So 9-year bourbon for $90. That's really not bad at all. Of course, got a Knob Creek single barrel pick for $48. Really cheap right there. Some more of that Nashville Barrel Company, and then just a few more, including some tequilas right here if you're interested in that.
Bottle Barn's been around forever. I think like 1990. It was independently owned for a long time. It's still, I think, pretty much independently owned.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's always been about customer first. We're not trying to like screw anybody over on prices. It's like we take our percentage and then that's it. Allocated stuff, as you can see, just gets put out. Nothing's hidden. Nothing gets marked up. Like we have, like I said earlier, pallets get thrown out on the floor. And when they go, that's when they go.
Yep.
So
this is Aaron. He's been super helpful to us. Make sure if you're in the area, come to Bottle Barn. It is literally a warehouse of whiskey and wine and everything like that. And
literally everything.
Yeah, tons of great picks, tons of California stuff. That's the most California whiskey we've ever seen.
I mean, like we don't want to say anything, and I don't know how in trouble we'll get, but it's like if you're like looking for like wine and stuff, like if there's anything local, if they go like, oh, you can only get it here, you can probably
I would love it.
Probably get it here.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it. All right, now we're actually in the back of the warehouse. This is where they keep their glass case. All the special stuff is back here. And so in the case here, we got some Lost Lantern. They're a pretty cool brand. They go to like a lot of craft distilleries and then bottle some stuff from them and kind of highlight some of those. So Far Flung Bourbon and Far Flung Rye. That seems like they're from Ohio, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Iowa. Blend a bunch of craft distilleries together. They have the Smoke Eye Barrel Proof for $75. Everyone's raving about that one. We have a couple down here. I don't know what this, oh, those are Westland, so those are single malts. And then that Guerrero, I believe it's from Savage and Cook. They've got a 6-year rye for $95 and the 7-year bourbon for $95. A couple more Savage and Cook offerings. Bald and Bond. Again, those are bought by Redwood Empire, so maybe those will go on sale or something pretty soon. We've got the Sneakerhead blend from 2XO, some High and Wicked, the Gypsy whiskey for $180.
Whoa.
A blend of 3 aged whiskeys. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if it's worth $180, but that's a little crazy. We have the new Four Roses single barrels. They do different recipes now. So we have OBSF and OESK for only $45. Some more, the Lost Lantern. We've got Union Horse Distilling, Rocktown Distillery, and Highwire Distilling Company. Again, that's just a really cool way. We don't have access to any of those products. I mean, they're distilled in Arkansas and Kansas. And so that's a nice way to get access to that. Orphan Barrel Fang Pursuit, and then Eagle Rare for $45. That's actually cheaper than we've seen it recently. The grocery stores are now pricing it at $50. So if we needed a bottle, we'd grab it. We have the Dark Arts. This is a 7-year, barely legal bourbon, so $80 right there. Probably a 51% corn from MGP. And then we have some Irish. We have Yellow Spot, Blue Spot, Gold Spot, which we actually really like the Gold Spot, honestly. I think this is a special 13-year. We have the 9-year. And then Red Spot, some Redbreast, some other Irish that we don't know too much about.
All right, we just got out of Bottle Barn. It was awesome. Thank you so much to everybody who was working there. We personally met Emma and Aaron, and they helped us out a lot. And yeah, it was a great store. I mean, it's huge in there. So definitely worth giving a stop if you are in the area. We loved it.
Worth a stop. We're subscribing to their newsletter. Check out their website. They do a really good job of all their picks, allocated, everything like that. We did walk away with one whiskey. We did this Moylan's Cask Strength Bourbon Whiskey, recommended by Aaron. It looks super dark, really fun. We'll try it, something somewhat local. We also got a few sour beers recommended by Aaron. And Taryn got a t-shirt because we love the design. So you'll probably see that in some videos pretty soon. So I think that's it.
Yeah,
thank you for watching.
Guys.
And yeah, check out Bottle Barn if you're in the area.